Good day, Warrior. Today we're going to be talking about my interesting experiment going forward. And this is in the mass building, muscle building, 70% lean bulking phase going forward. So, this is Coach Beal here. This is Warrior Results. You're watching the Warrior Motivation Show, WarriorResults.com. You know, I just realized that. So my website's warriorresults.com, but this is the Warrior Motivation Show. I'm like, man, which one is this? So warriorresults.com going forward. This YouTube channel is warriormotivationshow.com. This is Coach Boo here. I help husbands lose weight, gain muscle, get abs, so that they can live happily ever after. It's a direct correlation. It's a direct relationship between looking good, feeling good, having health, and your marriage. For me, our marriage wasn't terrible. Me being chunky husband, me being chubby, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. It wasn't like far out. Our love life, sex life was heading down a path that wasn't good. So until I got better, until I transformed. Went through my own transformation process to become the hot husband, and now our marriage went, and it started with me first. It started with getting my body and health first. So just here I made a lot of mistakes on the way and everything, so here to share that to you. Sorry, that was way winded. Sorry about that. So one of my favorite podcasts to listen to, I recommend you do that as well. I don't know if you listen to podcasts. Muscle for Life. One of my favorite experts in this world is Mike Matthews, MM for short. Mike Matthews. He's an awesome guy. A lot of very smart, very intelligent, and he's all about helping you out first. He's not a pitch fest like a lot of experts and people trying to sell you stuff. They're just like super compelling headline, weird thingy that does blah 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 blah, and then boom, they try to sell you something. Mike Matthews just helps you out. Here's what I discovered. Here's what I learned. Well, I need a swig of water. He was talking about, I forget what the episode was about, but something like the maximum number of sets that you want to do during a week for other muscle groups. And he's talked about this before, and I would agree with this. It's about 15 sets for all muscle groups and a week. So he says that you can divide it up into instead of like everybody, this was the name of the episode was sets. Is it volume or intensity? We won't get too lost into that episode because I gotta tell you a break because it was a fascinating episode. I just want to tell you about the interesting experiment that came about from this episode. So he says you can do like one body group. You can kind of crank it up to 20 reps a week, 20 sets a week, but mostly 15 sets total for the week. So Monday through Sunday, whatever 7-day time period constitutes your week, Monday through Friday. Do you work out 5 days a week, and then you take weekends off? Do you do 3-week workouts a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever it is? It's about 15 sets total, and you have your major muscle groups are chest. You probably know what they are, right? Chest, shoulders, thighs, glutes, basically your legs, posterior, anterior, arms, biceps / triceps, shoulders, abs. 15 sets total going through. This is why, I got clients, and I've had clients in the past that only work out once a week, but it's like a 1.5 hour workout, and they just do 15 sets for the whole body all 1 week, and they still get results. They still move forward, so it's not there. Anyways, you can crank up one of those muscle groups to 20 sets a week, but he wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't either. I've made this mistake. If you do too many sets for all your muscle groups, you do a little thing called overreaching, OR, and then you're sitting in overreaching for too long. It's about 3-ish weeks, and then it becomes OT, overtraining, and then it takes months. When you're overtraining, not only do your numbers start suffering in the gym, but your risk of injury starts going way up. it starts infecting like everything in your body, in your life. It's just too much. It's not hard to get out of overtraining. You just back off a little bit. 15 sets. Mike Matthews had a client that was in his 20s. He says, I would not recommend, if you do 20 sets for a muscle group, you do switch off each week. Like this week it's arms, this week it's chest, this week it's back, this week it's legs. And then he goes, you can do it like every week. I found it doesn't, you kind of lose the emphasis. It's just better to rotate through. And all it is, like for Mike Matthews, he told the story about he was a little disappointed in his shoulders or something like that, and like the top part of his chest. So basically once a week he just went in, he worked out like 5 days a week, and at the end of all his, like 2 of his workouts, he just did extra like 3 sets on incline bench press. And then he did that for a couple weeks, and they switched out. He might have did it for longer. He says people that can crank it up to 20, he says they tend to have, he says he had a client in his 20s that had a lot of natural steroid hormone going on. And he says, he even had a client that's just like, I want to see what happens. This guy was like genetically blessed and in his 20s. This is Mike Matthews' client. And so then what you do is then you consume lots of calories. Like he said, he ate like 5,000 calories a day. And so which he says is about 1,000 calories of carbs a day. And he says he just chalked up, he like wanted to see what it did. So his client, we're going to call him Mike Matthews' client Jim, that did this. I have no idea if that's his real name or not, but in his 20s. And he says his goal is to go for 8 weeks, 2 months, and he had to cut it short to, and he did like work out like twice a day, but he ended up having to cut it down to 6 weeks. But you're just eating a ton, working out a ton. It's like ramp up both, and then you want to make sure your sleep is really, really good too as well, because that's where you do all the recovering. So I'm just coming off a cutting phase, so I'm like, why not? Let me see what will happen. So for the next 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, we'll see what it is. I'm not in my 20s. I'm about to be 40 in 2 months. So I'm going to cut her down. I'm not going to do 20 sets a week from my muscles. I am going to work out twice a day, 2 days. But I'm probably going to just cut her short about 17, 18 sets a week from my muscle groups. Work out twice a week. And what's kind of cool, I won't be at 5,000 calories a day. I'll probably be about 4,000. And I will be, and probably about 700-800 grams of carbs going through it. We'll see what'll happen. My goal is about 5-ish pounds in the next 6 weeks. And when you do this, so this is an interesting experiment. I'm like, let me just see what will happen. So I've gone now from, so consuming now 700 calories a day. Up during this cutting phase, I was about 250 calories a day. And now I'm cranking up to 700. So we're going to see what will happen there. When you do crank up your carbs like that, you want to downgrade your fats. You want to try to keep both inversely related. Just because your body's primary fuel source for filling muscles is this. So if your fat is really, really high too, and your carbs are really, really high, what tends to happen is your body puts that fat into what's called intramuscular adipose tissue. It's like if you ever ate a big steak, if you're like, there's rings of fat, that white tissue inside your steak. When you're cooking that steak, that's what the grease that melts that you're cooking it in. If you ever cooked out on a grill, you are like the fat drips down. So that's where your body tends to store that fat. And again, your muscles kind of balloon out like that as well. But I would rather lose the fat when you go through. So when you go through a cutting phase, your body will lose it from that fat source first. And I would rather you lose the fat when you go on a cutting phase from the body, from the belly, from the the storage sites like that instead of inside the muscle. The subcutaneous fat stores just right underneath the skin. So going forward like that. So little education there for you. So I will be giving you a week-to-week breakdown, week-to-week update how this is going. My weight starting out is 170. So remember at my lowest was like 171.5. That was what, 9% body fat. And so we'll just round it to 172, 9%. So we'll see what happens with my weight. My goal is to be like 177, 178. And what's cool about this, especially if you're doing 2 days, when you're cutting, your fun in the gym kind of goes down. Like I was doing things like empty stomach cardio and empty stomach training, low insulin levels training, and the numbers in the gym were just stay there. And that's kind of what you hope for when you're cutting. If they go up a little bit, that's really, really good. But your goal is to just hold on to your strength, hold on to your muscles, and keep cutting the fat. When you're doing things like in the surplus here, with a ton of resources as far as energy goes in the form of carbs, your numbers in the gym tend to like grow by the week. Like it's 1-2 reps. It's 5-10 pounds added onto it every week. So it's really, really fun. And it's just more energy throughout the day. I noticed when I was on my like last couple of weeks of cutting, at the end of the day it was just a drag. It was just like, I'm in a lot better mood during this going forward like that. So we'll see what happens. I'll let you know. But this is going to be my journey, my personal interesting experiment going forward. And we're going to crank it up just a little bit below 20 sets, and then about 2 days, because I'm not in my 20s. I'm about to be 40, so I don't expect myself to be there. But I got really good sleep, a really good recovery, and a really good knowledge of my body going forward. So let you know how it goes. We'll see how it happens. So you excited for me? I'm excited too. All right, we'll see you in the next one. You take care. Bye.